got a new bookshelf. You can see it. You can't see any of my other bookshelves because my chair is in front of it because I moved it in front of my chair for this video. But I got a new bookshelf, so you can see that one. Also, the sun is at a weird angle right now, but bear with me. Hello, I'm Sophie welcome back to my channel, and welcome to another reading recap. I know last month I did not have one, but I'm gonna combine the two. This is September and October, mostly because I didn't read much in October either, so like it kind of worked out. Kind of a longer one since it's 2 months, but it is only 7 books, so yeah. Anyways, let's start with September. Of course, we'll go in chronological order, why not? So, the first book I read was Wicked Fox by... I really should have got these out first. Oh my... Okay, we have the books now. I only read 4 physically, the other ones were on the Libby app, so we got 4. Back to what I was saying, the first book I read this month was Wicked Fox by Kat Cho. I'm pretty sure she makes videos on YouTube. I know I have watched at least one of her writing vlogs before. It's very K-drama. Love that, first and foremost. It's just, it's also like a fantasy as well because it introduces these ideas of Korean folklore into the real world, into Korean folklore in real Korea. I love seeing normal people getting pulled into it's like fantasy world while still having to deal with their own world and the world they knew for so long. The relationship arc between the two characters, I thought was crazy. I thought that was like up and down and up and down and up and down. Like there were moments when it was so cute and it was like, yes, this is what I wanted. And then it would just shatter for another section of the book, and then it would kind of come back, but then it would shatter again, and then we'd come back, but it would be a little weaker, and then it would shatter. Very, very chaotic. But I think it fits with the main character, because her main thing is like running away when she doesn't know what to do. She doesn't really face her problems, so I think that made sense with it, but it was very up and down and up and down and up and down with the two main characters and their relationship with each other. I do think it ended very sweetly though. And all in all, a nice lighter read. I mean, it's not crazy light because there are some like murders and stuff, because like that's what she has to do. She has to kill people to survive. But I would say it was a bit of a lighter book to pick up. And it was a very smooth, easy read. I need to read more of this kind of style of book again, because it's just nice and easy, unlike everything else that I pick up for some reason. Next was an audiobook that I had on Libby, a Haruki Murakami book called Wind/Pinball. It's his first 2 novels that he ever published and wrote and all that jazz. And they are a series, so it's book 1, book 2, and then there's one more book. I love Haruki Murakami already. I needed an audiobook to listen to. So I was like, you know what? Let's put some Murakami on here and try this out. And I loved it. I loved these 2 books. I want to get them printed like on a book because when I listen to audiobooks I kind of zone out from place to place and kind of piece it together on my own. But I want to get the full story because, spoiler alert, I haven't read book 3 yet. I was going to do an audiobook of that. It was a nice Murakami book. It was his 2 first books he ever wrote. I could kind of tell he was still grasping at his style in them, because they feel like Murakami, just a little bit off. But I still did enjoy them. I'm not saying that made them bad, but you can kind of see that he's still trying to grow into it. But they were very good. Hopefully I'll have those in actual paper form soon, so I can finish that trilogy, because I want to. I want to so bad. Anyways, the third book I read in September was The World Without Us. Nonfiction by Alan Wiseman, literally about the world without us. What would happen if we all disappeared? Like, what would remain of us? It talks about like how cities would change, how like New York's subway systems would be destroyed, basically. It talks about what we've done to the planet, not just like pollution and like plastics or whatever, but as well as like importing plants to different cities or farms or something to create a sort of global ecology instead of having different, like a forest be entirely made of native plants, which are very rare nowadays because those imported seedlings can kind of come in and take over a forest very quickly. So it kind of just goes over all the things we've done to the planet and what the planet can do back if we're not there to keep maintenance up. This is mostly research for Project What, because Project What explores a world where humans have been basically gone for 30 years. So I wanted to see what I could incorporate into the story. Got some good stuff out of here. I want to go back and read this again and actually like annotate it and take notes on it and stuff, because it has a lot of information that I do need for this story. So definitely gonna have to reread, but the first time around I just wanted to get the information in my head and it worked. So next time around, gotta annotate. That's all. I don't really know what to say about this one, except that 10 out of 10 research for my story. That's why I picked it up in the first place, and it lived up to that expectation. Let's go. Now, the next book that I read in September was another Haruki Murakami book. This is one that I had been wanting to read for a while, mostly just off the title alone, because I love the title, but it's Sputnik Sweetheart. I read this on Libby as well. I loved this book. I read it in 2 days on a road trip. So very short book, but it was just good. It was like a mystery. It was about a missing woman. It tells the story of this man who is in love with the woman, but that woman is in love with a different woman. That's like, it's a whole thing. But the woman in the middle goes missing, so the man and the woman the missing lady was in love with have to team up and try and figure out what happened to her, and there's some like magical stuff going on. Not like fantasy, but like it's like, oh, how did she just disappear off this island? There's like urban legends and all that stuff tied in, and I thought it was great. It was wonderful. Obviously I liked it. I read it in 2 days. I'm just a Haruki Murakami fan. What can I say? What can I say? Alright, and finally, the last book I read in September was another book on Libby. I was on a reading high on this road trip, so I just kept checking out books and reading them, as one does naturally. Right after I finished Sputnik Sweetheart, I went back to Libby and I was like, I need another book to read. I need a book to read now. And I wanted something that was nonfiction because I had finished this book and I was like, I need some nonfiction in my life. So I picked up this book, really short book, that was called The 7 Brief Lessons of Physics, I think. Brief is very true. I think on my iPad it was like less than 100 pages. So I was like, okay, a freaking breeze. Why not? And it was quite simple. The way it's written was very eloquent. It had very big words. So it took a while to get through the sentences, but the concepts themselves were quite easy to grasp once you figured out what the guy was talking about. This was a book I also finished very quickly, mostly because it was very short. I think it took maybe 2 or 3 days to finish. It was just that the sentences were a little tougher to get through. So a little bit of extra time was dedicated to understanding what was being said. But it was a very good read once I figured out what was happening. So those are the books that I read in September. Now, October. Just these two. Very fun, very different sizes. The first one I finished. This one took me almost a month to read, mostly because school got in the way and all that jazz, but it also is ginormous and quite dense and sad. All the light we cannot see. This book is so good. I had been putting off reading it because it sounded sad from the blurb on the back, because it's about World War II. Need I say more? This was such a good story. Would I read it again? Maybe. Maybe. But it's just... I finished this almost a month ago by the time I'm filming this, and I still think about it. Still think about it a lot. Just the characters and the relationships they have and how they grow together. Anyways, we have made it to the last book of this video. I finished this on Halloween night. It was Convenience Store Woman. I read the synopsis of this book a while ago and I was like, that sounds right up my alley. I need this book right now. It was a very strange read. I do want to go back and like actually like annotate this one because me and the main character have a little bit too much in common to be okay, especially in the opening sections because there's no chapters. It's just scenes that are cut up. So there's no other sectioning off except for those scene cuts, but in the opening few sections or scenes or whatever of the book, I was like, me, like this. It's written in first person, so it has a lot of like her insight on the world and how she sees everything and thinks of all of it. And I want to go back and highlight and annotate and put my own stuff into this. The only thing that really got on my nerves was, oh, hello hair. The only thing that really got on my nerves was this side character that becomes a lot more prominent in the story than I thought it would. He's very old-timey thinking, I guess. Really old-timey because he doesn't stop talking about the Stone Age throughout this. He's like a 30-something job-hopping bum or whatever, and he gets hired at this convenience store, and he gets fired subsequently, because he sucks. What we do see of him, all he talks about is men going off to hunt and fight in wars, and the strongest men in the Stone Age village get the best wives, and that all women are good for are bearing children, and that's all he talks about throughout the entire book. And I thought he would be done. I thought we would see him at the convenience store, he'd get fired, we're good. No, he's there for the rest of the story. And we get to hear him talk about the Stone Age a dozen more times. Did not like him at all. I was tired. I was tired of him talking about the Stone Age. And the way the main character just puts up with it got on my nerves. I was like, girl, cuss him out, please. And he, just did not like this character. But he was there. He was there anyways. Every other part of the book, though, enjoyed. Enjoyed thoroughly. But yeah, that is it. That is it. Sorry for ranting right there. Had to get that off my chest. But that was the point of his character. So like, no shade on the book, but like, did not like him. Anyways, those are the 7 books that I read in the past 2 months. Sounds kind of sad when you say it like that, but September was the most reading I had done all year. So, there are achievements. But yeah, that is it. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. How has reading for you been? I know if you're in school, finals are coming up, so probably not reading as much. If you aren't in school and you're doing NaNoWriMo, most of your time's probably being dominated by writing. Maybe you work amazingly under pressure and you're like, yeah, I have finals and I'm doing nano and I'm reading like 10 books this month and it's great for you. I wish. But let me know in the comments and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.